bracket thing.
Fuck, thanks. Yeah, we're from Edmonton. Called Half Ted.
We are. Everybody better get the fuck up here right now. We got a bunch more songs for you. This one's called 15 Pack.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going, Hillary?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm always good. And if I'm not, I'm asleep.
That's pretty good too.
I fucking make it a conscious fucking effort to be positive and productive. Well, as productive as I can. Every day.
I appreciate your attitude.
Somebody's got to do it. Oh. We're going to let this play through. And then we're going to fucking jump into an interview.
Great.
And I'm going to try not to swear because my daughter's here and she's going to make sure she lets me know not to swear every time I swear.
Cute.
I'll do my best,
try not to
sweetheart.
swear?
I'm sorry. I'll do my best not to swear, sweetie. She doesn't like it. She knows there's no reason for it. She knows that Dad's smarter than that.
It's my kid.
What if I'm smarter than that?
Yeah.
It also kills my reach on some videos too. Sometimes if I swear too soon in the beginning of the video, like there's a whole lot of stuff I'm still learning about all this.
So, good enough.
Okay, yeah, pass me those ones and you can take these.
Oh no.
Good. That's what you're looking for.
Oh. There we go. There, that's better. Perfecto. Okay, we got 7 more minutes, and then I'll do the sponsors and the intro, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah. Post stuff on Instagram. Why?
Everybody knows the best parties are at the gay bar.
It really is. Depends on the bar. Some of them are just like overrun with like wealthy white gay.
Yeah, my uncle. I used to go partying with my uncle when I just turned 18, and
Yeah.
he'd take me to a couple. We do a little bar hop downtown, and
Yeah.
he took me to this one spot, and it was a really really small karaoke bar, but there was a door with a big G on it. And my uncle told me don't go in that door, okay? And he's like, the rest of the bar is in there. That's called the bathhouse. That's Goliath's.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah, you don't want to go back there. I was like, all right, I'll just hang out here.
All right, we got 3 more songs for you guys. We also have merch at the back. So buy it if you're not a pussy. What are you staring
People that couldn't go somewhere is incentive
That
to like,
is.
well, I want to know what's back there now.
No. No.
I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Somebody's gonna hit on me? Whatever.
No, they're usually already all naked. So like if you go into the bathhouse, yeah, if you go into the bathhouse, it already implies that you're like a part of that part of the crowd, right? So like if they start touching you and stuff and you start to pull back, they're gonna be like, hey man, you're in the bathhouse.
Yeah, fair play.
I don't know, actually that was also like 12 years ago too, and there's been a lot of new like awareness for consent and stuff too. So like I imagine that stuff's changed in those communities as well. Like you can only hope. Yeah, you can only hope.
Yeah, I think there's one bathhouse in Edmonton, but I don't know. I don't know anyone who's been there or anything like that. I think Grindr is kind of putting those places out of business.
Even when I wasn't with my girlfriend, I never used any dating apps. I tried Tinder once, and I was like, no, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I met my partner on Tinder, and we've been together about almost 3 years. 3 years right away.
Mine found me. She found me on Facebook. And after I broke up with my girlfriend before, I made this rule that I was not gonna add anybody or keep them on my friends list unless I could talk to them and have a conversation with them. And she came over, she put all the moves on me. She dropped her cat off and never took him home again.
That'll do it.
And my kid calls her mom, so that's a bonus. Yeah, this is the last one. This is the last one for sure. I'm stoked about it. I think I started this at the perfect time. I think this is the last song in the video.
It is indeed. I don't know, we do Bloodstains after that.
No, there's one more after this.
Bloodstains.
But they're all pretty short, so.
We're gonna let her play. So I talked to another bar here in town called the Blind Beggar, and we are starting up the conversations on monthly trash talk showcases.
Cool.
Sweet.
So you guys will definitely be getting a call about that.
All right.
Into it.
And those will be
That far.
a little bit more interesting than the usual shows too, because I'm gonna try to incorporate a little bit of a podcast in there, and then have a punk band, a metal band, and then a DJ or a rapper.
Cool.
Trying to get more and more community aware of each other and involved with each other, since the last couple of years were such a downturn.
Yeah.
Give it up. Give it up. All right, we've only
Is
got
Blind Beggar on 17th?
What's that?
Blind Beggar on 17th?
No, Blind Beggar's on McLeod Trail.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's right in the same parking lot as the back alley.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. I remember this. I had to run across the room because I heard this.
Yeah, I remember seeing you come running up and I was like, whoa.
I
that guy-
love Agent Orange. Oh. Their first album. What's it called?
Living in Darkness.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. Some of the riffage in that is just awesome, and it has such a almost like an 80s new wave punk tone to it.
Yeah.
And it's so far detached from the stuff that they released later on.
Oh, way different.
So good though, so good. Some solid musicianship on that album for sure.
Yeah.
I think they got introduced to hard drugs.
I got to open for them I don't know, years back.
Odie from Copsicle.
Yeah.
He's got a new band going on too. He's like, yeah, we opened up for Agent Orange. I was like, yeah, like you guys played like 5 or 6 shows. Obviously, Kruby Rookers has played a lot more, like 7 or 8,000.
Ballpark.
Oh, I don't know. For sure.
I bet Rod's got that Benjamin Button just like Mark Russell does.
Yeah, kind of.
Did he quit drinking and stuff?
No.
No, he's still just Rod.
Well, I mean, he doesn't. Now that he's not running Deviate, he doesn't drink as much, but
Not stressed as much either.
no, not at all.
Right? That's a big, big one because that's when it started for Mark too. When Mark was done with Distortion, he backed off of drinking and stuff, and he like got 20 years younger.
Yeah, Rod turned 40 and hasn't really aged a day since.
What a sweet treat. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trash Talk. I'm Nate Trash. I'm joined by Mike and Hillary from Half Dead in Edmonton. I'm very stoked. I'm going to try and get more Edmonton bands on. Give me a sec here. I got to adjust my brightness. Oh, Lord. My back. There. All right. We're going to try and get more Edmonton bands on here. This is a punk band that came and played with us in April, right at the beginning of April. I was very stoked about it. We were very lucky to get on that bill. I heard Mark talking about this band, and then he brought him down, and it turns out I knew their drummer, Mike, from another band called Kruger Rookers. Great group of people. Awesome, fantastic, diverse group of individuals playing some sick punk music. Go check out their latest release. It's called Binch. Fucking love that word. I really do. It's a good word. But before we start, we're going to talk about our sponsors here. So we're sponsored first and foremost by Cursed Earth Apparel and Print. That's where Horrify and Trash Talk get all their merchandise, all my banners, signage, everything like that. Octave Studios in Medicine Hat. Apply Within Audio in Lethbridge. Shout out to Gigi Scallywag, one of the sweetest boys. He's the one who provided this beautiful microphone for me for a lifetime sponsorship. So he's going to be getting mentioned forever. Also, Intrinsic Productions in Edmonton, Intersect Arts and Music Festival, Loud as Hell Music Festival, Armstrong Music Festival, Decimate Music Festival, Camp Misfit Clothing in Edmonton, and Mountain Bistro and Pizzeria Bragg Creek. Oh, yeah. Got them all out. Got to get them out every time. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, let's kick into this intro, and let's start this interview off.
Boiled fish. Boiled carrots.
Hey, I'm Nate Trash. Welcome back to another episode of Trash Talk. Yes. Welcome back to another episode of Trash Talk. I have Mike and Hillary with me right here. Introduce yourselves. Hillary, you first.
Hey, I'm Hillary. I do vocals in Half Dead.
Hey, I'm Mike. I play drums in Half Dead.
How long has Half Dead been a band for?
I don't
Mike,
know,
take that one.
maybe a year or so, but it's kind of been in the works for a while before that. The guitarist Tim and I, we've been talking for years about jamming together and maybe starting a band or whatever, and we're both just too busy to make it happen. And then what would it be, 2019, right before COVID hit, we started jamming and laid down the bed tracks for for what ended up being the debut release. And then I moved to Victoria, and so nothing happened for a while. We recruited Hillary and recruited our bass player Nicole kind of throughout that, and then we didn't have our first full band jam until I'm trying to think when it was.
I want to say like summer of 2020, like late summer.
Yeah, maybe.
Fall.
Basically, starting out during COVID kind of threw a wrench into our plans. I mean, everything was shut down, so there wasn't much we could do. We were lucky the brief periods that we could jam, but they were pretty like far and few between.
Because it's illegal. It was illegal for a while.
Yeah.
Like, bastards. The government always trying to get you down. Darn. No, COVID was a hellish experience for a lot of people. I'm very glad that you pushed through and were able to come out of it and play some shows, because the band is a very, very welcome addition to the Alberta punk scene, I feel.
Thank you.
As you could see in the pre-show, the energy is there. As a four-piece, you all fill out that stage really nicely. Like, you make it work really well. I was super impressed. What are the influences of the band?
A lot of like 80s like hardcore punk. Lots of West Coast stuff. I don't know. It's tough to say because we weren't necessarily trying to like mimic anyone or like drawing specific influence from anyone. When we started jamming, it kind of just flowed the way it did.
Yeah, it felt kind of like classic, like, let's start a punk band. And then we just like did. It didn't feel like we were all got together being like, these are the bands we like let's try to do something similar to this, or like, this is what we like from these acts. It was just sort of like, let's just write some songs and like see how they go. And
it's sort of unfolded kind of organically.
Nice.
So as a band, it's tough to pick out too many influences because everyone's got their own, and I don't know what influences me when I'm writing songs and writing drum parts, and if I have ideas for guitar riffs or like vocal bits. It's what inspires me is musicians around me, what they're into, what they're doing, and I try and write around that. I think it allows for interest in music to develop from that, but it just, like I said, it kind of makes it organic. You don't have too many preconceived notions going into it, so you just roll the dice and see where they land.
Hell yeah, man. I can respect that a lot. That was a really good answer. I can really appreciate that view, because a lot of people, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna jam with people unless they're influenced by this band and this band and this band," or like, "Oh, because me," and like, just to relate to the situation, like I'm sitting here in front of my Powerman 5000 windbreaker. I love Powerman 5000 so much. And like one particular album, Tonight the Stars Revolt, I love it to death. It influences me so much, but I'm in a grindcore band, fast, heavy, intense. That's the music I make. It's not the music I listen to, So when you can get with a group of people and you can all have those ideas flow without restrictions, without any sort of like preconceived notion of like creative outcome, that's where the really good, solid stuff gets made.
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, I think we all have pretty like varied taste in music too, which is nice. We don't like pigeonhole anything. Like, I don't know, I still listen to like Enya and Blondie.
Yeah.
As much as I listen to the Dead Kennedys and that sort of stuff as well. So
Jamiroquai for life. I'll listen to Jamiroquai till the day I die. What about you, Mike? What's your outside of the flavor music that you listen to?
Man, I listen to all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's mostly like guitar based, so like punk rock, like old classic rock, dad rock. But I like some country. I like some hip hop. Um, I, I tend to really like bands that they're they're hard to pin down with a genre because they've just become their own thing. Like Tom Waits or the Melvins.
Yeah,
Like
Totally.
there's no one quite like them, and they have such a distinctive sound.
that's
And
yeah.
they can do kind of whatever they want because they end up sounding like them, you know?
Yeah, like Boris. Boris released like a
Yeah.
hardcore album a couple years ago. I thought,
There's
ah,
not
they're very cool.
Tom Waits. Tom Waits and his hobo ghost music is got to be some of the greatest stuff out there. Like, and
Oh, it's so cool.
his interviews from back in the day too. Like, and he never tried to adopt any sort of trends. He never tried to like get on to the big showy like 80s mega concerts or anything like that. He just kind of like did his thing and would jump on a train and ride that bastard into the sunrise, man. Like Tom Waits was he still to this day. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tom Waits kicks some ass for sure.
He's still putting out music too.
Oh, I gotta
I'm trying to
check
think
that
what his
out.
last one was, but it's in the last few years, I think.
I gotta check that out for sure. That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know that, Mike. Now you punk band, obviously, right? So, what are the underlying themes and subject matter and content of your songs? The music video. I watched the music video. Who did that music video?
It was
Tim.
yeah, our guitarist Tim took the time to do it.
So rad, so killer.
Yeah, we were all pretty blown away that
He's
he's
never done it before.
no, he's just like I've been playing around with some stuff, and I might have something for a video. Like we'll see how it turns out. And it was like he showed it to us. He's like, holy crap! Like this is amazing. It's
Hell
so
yeah.
cool.
That's
Yeah, he's a
you.
multi-talented guy, that Tim.
You might have yourselves like a signature style there. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
like that's a standalone. That's really cool. That's really cool. But yeah, let's go back to the first part of that. What's the underlying subject matter and content that comes in the lyrics and behind the ideas of your music?
Yeah, I mean it's largely political, like still in keeping, with 80s punk kind of themes. A lot of like railing against cops, government, like the enormity of the state, like all that sort of stuff that we've been hearing, in punk rock for a long time. I feel like it doesn't always get old because those problems are not gone, right? Like none of those issues have really been solved or anything.
Well,
So
the states just reignited that 50-year-old fire in the Supreme Courts, and if you think about when was 50 years ago was 1970, so here we
yeah,
go. It starts all over again, right?
exactly. Yeah,
And
that's mostly what I draw from. I've been like a very political kind of person my whole life. Like I have a degree in political science and all that sort
respect.
of stuff. So I take it pretty personally and I think about it a lot, even when I before I was even in a band, it was stuff that I was always kind of ruminating on. So yeah.
Respect. I respect anybody who can work through school to get a degree in anything. I hate those people that are always like they always try to like bear down on people because they only have you see these arguments on the internet, right? And they're like, "Well, you only have a degree in this, which means you aren't an authority in this." And it's like, "Well, you don't have a degree in anything."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of these people barely graduate high school, and I personally did not. So like I find myself when I get in heated conversations with people and I hear myself talking too smart, I'll be like, "Whoa, pump the brakes there, buddy. You have a face tattoo and no teeth. Okay, you need to chill."
Sometimes the smarter thing to do is just to shut your mouth and listen.
Yeah, buddy, definitely. And I've learned that in the last couple years more so than the years before, because so many other people were yelling really loudly. So I was like, you know what, maybe I should listen and see what some of these people are saying. And I realized a lot of people who were yelling loudly needed more attention than a lot of people who are getting the attention for yelling loudly. And I realized a lot of my friends that are maybe not as close as they were before because of some of the things they yelled really loudly. So, you know, it's been a very eye-opening time, and I have respect for anybody who can work through and get an education, because I certainly cannot or could not.
Not always easy. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Right on. Mike, how long have you been playing the drums for?
I guess it'd be about 19 years. Groovy Rookers, my one of my other bands, just celebrated our 18th year as a band, and I really didn't start playing much before that.
Really,
Um,
Rod just scooped you up right out of high school, and he's like, Mike, here's the deal. You're never gonna grow hair again.
that I mean, genetics had a role to play in that.
Here, put these on. What are these, suspenders? No, they're bracers. Wear them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even though that band's kind of an oi thing, I never fell into the boot boy thing.
Yeah.
Just it wasn't for me. It required too many rules, and I was already hanging out with all those guys, and you see the way they treat like the new guy. They treat him like shit, and it's like, man, I have all these guys' respects already. If I was to crop in,
They would have to treat you like shit.
I have to go back 3 steps. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, like, you don't have to join the crew to be a part of the friendship and to like be a part of the crowd. Like, that's what I've found out over the years, you know. As much as I've tried to be a part of certain crowds and stuff, not so much as like the skinheads or like the punks or like the metalheads specifically, but certain crowds of people who did specific things in the music scene, you know, like I got a Calgary Beer Corps back patch and stuff, but there was never really anything like that was specific, you know. All of that stuff was kind of pushed away before I got into the scene. Some of the last like racist skinheads showed up at one of our shows because we were called World Class White Trash, and they got the wrong kind of notation from that. But Clint did a really good job of getting them out of there in a hurry. He knew who they were right away.
Oh, Clinton, man.
He is. Clint, and he is another one who looks like he might be getting a year or two younger. It's wild. COVID
I don't know if he's aged since I first met him.
COVID made him scrub his bar down, and I think some of that age was like some of the bar that he scrubbed off himself. Because a lot of people are like, "Is Vern still open since COVID?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it'll take a lot more than a worldwide pandemic to shut down Vern's."
Yeah, seriously, I don't know. They're like a cockroach in bar form.
Yeah, so I had a guy ask me, or no, I walked into a conversation where a guy said that he was pretty sure Clint slept on the pool table that was in the back. And I was like, no, man, he doesn't sleep on the pool table. Like, he rides his bike to work every morning, dude. Like, could you imagine trying to sleep on a pool table? Oh,
I mean, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's just not that far off from some places.
like
In wilder years, I've slept in some pretty interesting places.
my bones get crunchy just thinking about it.
Oh yeah, I'm an old man now, so I need a proper bed.
What's the wildest place you've ever stayed, Mike? Can you remember off the top of your head?
I it was in Calgary years ago, when I was still living in Red Deer, and some buddies
So
and I
Red
went
Deer was
down.
the wildest place you've ever stayed.
No. It was in an alley in Calgary. I got way too drunk at this gig. It was a DOA gig. I got way too drunk and felt like I needed to go take a nap, so I just like found an alley and passed out. but then I woke up and couldn't find the bar again. And so I ended up wandering the streets of downtown Calgary for hours and hours and hours. This is before I had a cell phone. And I finally find the bar and it's closed. And so I spent another like 2 hours walking around trying to find a payphone. And then finally got a hold of my buddies and they're like, yeah, we're way on the other side of town, man. Like, you're SOL. And so I ended up sleeping in the back of my buddy's truck in early November, and it was bloody cold.
Man, I don't miss those kinds of party days, dude. Like,
They make for funny stories now, but to relive that, I mean, I've already done it.
exactly. Like, okay, so one of the first Calgary Beer Corps shows that my old band ever played, it was on a Wednesday, and it was the second Calgary Beer Corps show we'd ever played, and I was out there, and I got loaded to the gills. And I got so loaded, I told my band to leave without me, and they got mad at me, and they did leave without me because of how wasted I was. So 2:30 rolls around. You know Ken, right? From the D?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ken grabbed me by my vest and by my, like, the back of my neck and, like, rolled me up the stairs and out the bar. And it was like 3 o'clock by the time I figured out what was going on. I got a cab as far north as I could, and I was at a truck stop, and I jumped up on the side of a truck to ask a trucker if I could borrow a lighter for a smoke, and he popped me in the face. And I got my mouth all bloodied up, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not getting a lighter then. So I went to the store, and because my mouth was all bloodied up, they wouldn't let me in the store. So I called my ex, and I was like, you need to come and pick me up, because she was there with them that night, so she knew what went on. So she had to come and pick me up, and I was so embarrassed and loaded, and by the time she got there, it was like 5 a.m, and yeah, that's the last time I jump on a random trucker's truck.
Smart. Smart.
What about you, Hillary? What's the craziest scenario or place you've stayed?
I don't know. I've always been the kind of person where once I'm too drunk enough, my body is just like time to sleep. So it was less like adventuring around trying to find somewhere to sleep and more like this bench looks nice and then just laying down there, like outside, benches in the park, change rooms at rugby clubs. I played rugby forever. So just like lay down on the floor and just pass out.
Nice.
That was it. That was all I gave a shit about. I was going to sleep.
Nice. There you go. Right on.
And now I feel great after hearing your story.
Heck yeah, I got some pretty rough ones, but like I choose to think forward instead of backwards to avoid the depression.
Likewise.
A lot of days when like I wake up in the morning and like you get that morning anxiety because you're in recovery forever when you're in recovery, right? So like I wake up in the mornings and I give myself a good hour and a half before I got to go to work. So that way I can get my head together. And some days I wake up in crazy anxiety, but then I think about the fact that I'm not in any of those situations anymore. And it kind of brings me back to reality and I'm able to get on with my day, because different person, different situations, start to realize that like to get in those situations again these days would take a lot of effort. It would take a couple of months to get behind and get kicked out and ruin relationships, and not that I'm ever going to do that again, but it's something I think about, like what if today's the day that something happens and I mess up, but
just hearing that, it makes me think that you've taken the right steps to put yourself in that situation where it's not like it's an off the cuff thing to, like, you know what, I'm going to go score or whatever. And you've put in a barrier between you and your old life. I think that's cool.
Yeah. And I really, more lately than ever, now that shows have kicked off again, because now when I go to shows, I'm going to shows with like an objective, and that objective isn't to like try and shuffle off any of the problems that I have or try and like let off any steam or anything like that. You know, it's to go and capture the moments so that other people can see it, and it can bring these other people to be a part of these moments as well, you know, and also to be a part of these moments myself, because I spent so long being a part of these moments under the influence. So now I don't remember any of those. I don't remember any of those interactions the way that I do now. You know, like I can still think back on the show that we played together and I still remember it. It was great from start to finish. I think back on Groovy Rookers shows that I played with World Class White Trash. I can remember maybe one.
Yeah.
Maybe one. And I know there was a bunch. Like there was a handful. You know, and it comes with the territory, right? So a little bit better every day, right? Trying to put too much pressure on, a little bit better every day. So let's get into the band. Let's get into the other members of the band. Have you guys faced any difficulty being a mixed bag kind of band like you are?
How do you mean by mixed bag? Just like different people, different backgrounds, or like?
Yeah, well, you know, most punk bands are all dudes. Or they got one chick in them right at the front of the band. You know what I mean? All straight white dudes, all banging out the same thing. You know, you got an oi band, you got a punk band, you got a crust punk in that band, maybe a female mixed in there. But have you had any difficulties? Have you faced any difficulties trying to get onto shows or like trying to get people to take you seriously or recognize your music?
Not really, not that I've noticed.
In fact, it's sort of been the opposite. I think the impression that I get from a lot of people is that we're kind of a breath of fresh air because we are a mixed group. That it's like, oh, sweet, there's women in this band, awesome.
Hillary tears it up with a microphone too.
Yeah. Well, we're doing this not. There's not women in the band as a token thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's in this band because they belong here. They're pulling their weight. They're doing the work. You know, everyone's writing their own parts. Everyone's contributing to, you know, the bigger picture. So if anything, it's caused us to thrive more.
These days,
and
people are looking for that now because a lot more people are encouraged to come out. The last couple of years, there's been age groups of kids that have turned 18 and they want to get out and they want to go to shows. At least that's what I've seen. We haven't played a lot of shows, but the ones we've played, there have been a lot of younger age group kids there, and we always try to provide that safe space, you know, and like use those words out loud to people, you know, like this is a safe space. This is an inclusive space. Like if you have a problem with that, push yourself right to the back and out the door, you know? Can't tolerate those things these days because now, well, the world's changed a lot.
Yeah.
You know? You look back 2 years, gone like a blink, and a lot of people changed right back to their old personalities that they had before. Like I'm on the social medias a lot, promoting the bands I manage, promoting my own band, promoting the scene. It's what I do. And I see a lot of people on posts for bigger shows, you know, like they had a show, North Lane was supposed to play at Dickens. They're a bigger band. They're starting to break out more. And one guy jumped on and he's like, oh, that's a wicked lineup, but that's a terrible venue. And I'm like, you didn't just spend 2 years not going to see any shows at all? Like I wanted to reach through the computer and shake him by what I imagined would be like a dirty old man bun, you know?
Yeah.
Like that kind of privileged attitude, it only comes from man buns. No, I'm just joking.
Well, it's really irritating, like, to care about the venue that much when it comes to like even like underground music is irritating, right? Like if I was gonna see Led Zeppelin and it was like, oh, we're playing at this place that has horrible sound quality and fits 35 people, I'd be like, well, that sucks. But to see like local shows and then shit on the venue, it's sort of like, well, what are you doing? Like that just like doesn't jive in my head very well. Like I don't get it.
Plus, I think that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like playing in seedier places. I feel at home there.
So we like to play where we because for us, we don't take every show. We've been offered a lot of shows. So it also falls within like what we are able to do. Because let's say right now, we were asked to play a festival up in High Prairie. And we would have loved to do it because we haven't been that far north before. Like, I've never been that far north in my life, period. I have family that lives up in the Northwest Territories. And my mom grew up in the Northwest Territories. She was born in Hay River. And I've never been up north that far before. But we had to turn it down because, well, my guitar player's his wife was in labor yesterday. I don't know if they had the baby today. I'm like, that's how soon it is, you know, and we have 3 weeks till we have a show. And then we have 2 shows coming up in August. If anybody's listening, I'm not going to announce the dates, but we got 2 shows coming up in August, and then we're shutting her down. But like we got the show at Dickens because I just kind of asked Mark and it was a good opportunity. And then our show after that was in a basement. It was a basement house show and it was packed with kids, and they were having a circle pit in this small little living room of the basement of this house. And I got videos of it. And we had my buddy who's 6'2", like crowd surfing. And I like had my hand on the light. The light was like a one of them tube lights, fluorescent tube lights, but there wasn't any tubes in there. But the cover was off of it, and the corners of like the light holder were sticking out. So I like put my hand on there. I'm like, Griff, you are gonna split your head like a pumpkin. And no, he didn't. It was good times. But we for one thing like to play when we can, and where we play hasn't really been an issue because I personally like the challenge of seeing how many people I can get out to any place, no matter what spot we are in the lineup. Like, I am a promotion maniac when it comes to my own band and it comes to shows. Like, I have a very solid way that I promote the band. And can you, Serenity, don't click the bottle, please. Thank you, sweetheart. So I have a very particular way I like to promote. And these days with video and stuff on the social media sites, you can promote to a lot of people without having to play a lot of shows.
Yeah.
And it's worked out very well in our favor. All the shows that we've played, except for one, that I just kind of like, it was my own show that I booked. It was a Trash Talk fundraiser show, and the Shit Talkers came down from Vancouver, and they just recently opened up for the Circle Jerks like last night, I think. And I was like, okay, we had a band drop off the day before. I was like, do you guys want, we have to jam for this big show we got coming up, so do you guys just want to come down to Vern's and we'll jam here, like before anybody plays for this show tonight? And there was a couple people there because they didn't do any promoting, right? But the shows that we've been able to promote, the turnouts have been really good. It seems that when people are able to put the effort into their promotion, the turnouts are always killer. I've seen some downward facing turnouts for sure, but the shows are all still deadly, and it's great to have them all back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of shows, what do you got going on for shows coming up for Half Dead? Tours, like festival dates? What's going on?
A few things coming up in July here.
Yeah, we're playing at the Buckingham here in Edmonton in a couple weeks, July 16th actually, with Regina's Black Thunder and Calgary's Spastic Panthers. We're doing a reunion show.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big one. I'm really excited for that. I feel like I can't see Black Thunder enough. Like, they're one of my favorite acts for sure. So as an early show, that one, so I don't know, we're all getting older. I don't mind starting at 6:30.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And honestly, like if Dan Izzo doesn't get his marathon training sleep in, he won't be happy.
Yeah, seriously.
He's got gold medals to win so that he can drink some beers.
Right? He's gonna earn those beers.
He's the greatest. Like, he is one of the most like positive stories of turnaround that you can see because he partied hard and then he like started running marathons and he still plays shows and like Dan Izzo he's a role model for sure for a lot of people in the punk scene. I'm very pumped to see some Spastic Panthers. I saw that they got some long sleeves going on too. I'm gonna get me one of them. Like, oh man, that's a band. That is a band. That's a band like Rebel Spell, you know, one of those legendary Canadian punk bands, the Ripcords, DOA, Dayglow Abortions, you know. Shout out to Mark Russell, BDFM. That's one of those bands. Groovy Rookers, obviously. You can't mention Alberta punk rock without mentioning the Groovy Rookers, and anybody, I know so many people that will vouch for that as well. So tours, you're gonna go on a tour? You're gonna do a tour, Mike? What's going on with that?
We've got some Saskatchewan dates coming up in July 22nd. We'll be in Saskatoon at Black Cat Tavern with Winnipeg's Suburban Hypocrites.
Oh, those guys are deadly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Rookers have played with them before, but it would have been a while ago. So they're still kicking. They're still doing stuff. So they're gonna headline that one, and then we got the local openers off the top rope, who are like wrestle punk rock.
Really, eh? I figured that if it was in Saskatchewan, that it would have been like Royal Red Brigade or Bats Out. Even have you heard from those
Royal Red
guys?
Brigade hasn't been around for a few years.
Yeah,
Half the band moved to Toronto.
fair enough. That happens. That happens.
But it's funny that you should mention them because the next night we're playing in Regina with the other half of Royal Red Brigade. They reformed as a kind of a weirdo stoner metal band called Midnight Gallows. They're awesome.
They're wicked.
They put out an album a couple of years ago, and it's just smoking hot. It's
That's
so
awesome.
good.
I love these old punks that are like, you know what? Screw this. We're playing stoner rock now.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so much fun to play.
It really is, and like it like there's so much fun in that with like the huge noisy fuzzy riffs. Like who doesn't want to hear how like intense their guitar can sound? Like
Yeah.
once again, Mark Russell, perfect example of this. He has his band Owls and Eagles, which is like, yeah, stoner rock, you know, and it's him and Ross, and it's Ross on a big guitar, and it's Big Ross, and Ross is like 7 feet tall, and it's like, yeah, Mark's behind the drums, and he looks even bigger sitting behind the drums than when he's standing up, which I don't understand, because Mark Russell he's not a small guy by any stretch, but, you know, whatever's fun to play, because my biggest thing is if you're gonna record some music, then get some gear, play some tunes, record some music. You know, you don't have to worry about putting on a show or performing any of that kind of stuff. You know, but if you're gonna play a show, put on a show.
Yeah.
Put on an actual show. Like, don't go out there. I see people do this lots. I see people stand there, they stare at their fretboard, they don't make any sort of movements like they're performing, like they're playing a show at all. And it's like, okay, I understand you're nervous. That's why we drink. That's why it's at a bar, right? But if you're doing that time after time and that becomes your MO, then don't start to complain when nobody takes interest in your shows or wants to like talk about your music or anything, right? Because
You gotta
boring
entertain the masses.
Mike,
shows are boring.
Yeah, people watch live music. They don't listen to live music.
It's
Right?
it's an experience.
Exactly. It's an event. And that's like, I can speak for my band at least. We're not the cutting edge of new metal music, you know. We're not trying to be maybe the most intense, but not the most technical by any stretch. We want to see how we can hit the crowd. We want to see how we can get everybody in the room involved. And that's how we want to remember that event, that experience. That's the whole push of how we write songs and how how I record when I record my performances, you know, like we're about that intensity. We're about that feeling. We want people to remember the shows that we play. So when they come to the next ones, they want to talk to people there about the last time they saw us, you know, because in the end, there isn't going to be a more valuable promotion of your band than when somebody who's already a fan of your band tells somebody else how much they like your music and that they should go check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, word of mouth is really critical. Like, I think we take it for granted a bit with Facebook and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. But most of the time, like if I'm looking at events on Facebook, I'll sort of be like, yeah, that looks interesting. And then if I hear somebody else be like, I've seen that band, they're awesome, you got to see it. That's how I then decide, you know, which of those shows that I see online that I'm going to prioritize.
Exactly.
So yeah, performing live is like really, really critical.
Mark Russell's my go-to for that. I'm bringing him up a lot because I miss him because he's been on tour and I'm sad. But he's coming home soon. He's coming home soon. I can't wait for his recommendations of the stuff that he saw while he was on tour, because that's how I found out about you guys was Mr. Mark Russell, you know, and he's taught me so much about how to look for new bands and how to like vet a new band out. So when he drops the names in new bands, it's like, yeah, I'm going to check that out because he's one of those people, you know. But another thing about Mark too, sometimes Mark smokes a couple joints in a row and then he'll be like, yeah, man, you should check this band out. And then I check this band out and it's like, bro, you know that I'm not into like the Grateful Dead 60s jam music when I'm looking for bands to like promote and do shows with. He's like, no, man, this band's awesome. Oh, man, it's great. I love getting the recommendations from my friends, and I do my best to check out all of the recommendations I get from friends, but because of the show and the press releases I get in the emails and stuff and people who reach out for interviews, I'm almost limited. I don't want to use the word limited because of the meaning, the part of the meaning that comes behind it. Like I'm kind of restricted in the fact that I'm only one person and I only have so much time, you know, and I can only listen to so much music. And there's still the people out there that are very anti-streaming services, or they are only on particular streaming services. And, you know, I'm okay with that. I don't try not to raise any qualms with that. I try to give everybody their fair stretch. But if you're trying to promote your music, the worst way to promote your music is by limiting yourself by the ways you can get people to listen to it. But I don't judge people by that. I still try to give everybody their fair chance. If people want to send me their music but they don't want to upload it to Spotify, I got no right to judge that. That might be some of the sickest stuff out there. And, you know, if they want people to miss out on that, that's not for me to judge. But I can't, for the most part, go out hunting for bands. So when I get a chance to see a band that I've been on the hunt for and like I've heard good things about, I try my best to take it. And most these days, there's a lot of really, really sick new bands out there. You guys being one of them for sure. What are some bands that you guys know of that you've seen in the past or you've seen pop up now, whichever your choice? Hillary, you first.
The first one that pops into my head is going to be CB Radio Gorgeous. They're wicked. I can't remember where they're from, but I've been listening to a lot of like really old, like older, like 70s kind of punk rock, you know, the Bags, Germs, that sort of stuff. And I really miss a time I wasn't there, but when punk was kind of just weird, you know, it wasn't all this like militant, angry, male, aggressive.
Richard Hell comes to mind.
Yeah, and so I think CB Radio Gorgeous is a really nice throwback to when punk was just kind of like for all the freaks and the outcasts to kind of get together and be like, well, we're all outcasts together. And that's something I really like about, you know, all that early punk rock stuff. So yeah, CB Radio Gorgeous comes to mind, first of all.
That's like the factory days, the New York East Coast factory days, the Andy Warhol days.
Totally.
Back when the Lower East Side and the other boroughs in New York were really hopping off, and
Hmm.
like before they started to, those were the days when you could get 1,000 people in one place for days, like days and days, and the guerrilla marketing and promotion for shows and underground events. And like, once again, Andy Warhol was a champion of that stuff. Like, the Velvet Underground is a band that, and I'm not even really a big fan of the Velvet Underground, but to see their space and to see the place where they came from, I like that. 70s punk really was weird. I like that you said the Germs too. Darby Crash. I emulated Darby Crash in my early days of being in a band. Like, I had short bleach blonde hair, and I get loaded and beg for beers on stage and bash myself up real nice. And yeah, I think back and laugh at myself now.
Yeah. Which I wonder if Darby would too, but
Yeah.
thankfully you're alive, so
Yeah.
that sets you apart from him.
Darby Crash. What a guy. Some wild stories there. Anybody watching right now, go check out The Decline of Western Civilization, Volume 1, 2, and 3 in that order, because you can watch them out of order if you want, but I highly recommend watching them in order. The first one is punk rock in LA in the 70s. The second one is like hair metal and other types of metal in LA in the 80s. And then the third one is 90s punk rock. And it had some pretty wild bands in it that aren't even really around anymore, like Litmus Green and stuff. Naked Aggression, that was the first time I ever heard of Naked Aggression. And one of the sickest punk bands ever.
You're like deeply depressed after the third one. It's like pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
it's good. I enjoyed watching it, but at the same time, it was very like hit me in the heart, you know.
That's
Yeah.
pretty.
There a lot of those. That's the thing about like punk rock in a lot of situations, though. Like, a lot of people see the clothing and they see the attitude and they see the hair and they see the parties and stuff, but they don't see like the homeless, the drifters, the addiction, the death, like the abuse. Like, it gets pretty dark and it gets pretty sad in the punk rock world, and a lot of those punk rock stories don't have happy endings, more so than they do, you know.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of punk rock's fairy tales, Sid and Nancy, they don't end happy, right?
No, oh my God, it's a horrible story.
And then like even speaking, and we'll get a little bit more lighthearted here. Look at the Sex Pistols and look at what Johnny Rotten's doing right now. Like, old man, old man screams at cloud, like I was watching cartoons with my kid, and I saw the Sex Pistols documentary pop up on Disney Plus, and I was like, "Oh, punk rock rules."
Yeah, right. Like,
Oh man, like it's
I don't,
great.
I don't even like the Sex Pistols that much, so I don't really care. But
That is still a part of punk rock culture. That's still a part of the story. And the fact that I like to laugh at it because it's just, to me, it's a clever joke, because in my mind, it's still the same thing. Punk rock is still the same thing. It still burns in my heart until the day I die, and sure, everything is commercialized. That's how I was able to find out about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the streets of New York in the 70s and 80s. I wasn't privy to Harley Flanagan's true Hollywood story of the real hardcore world. Like, I found it because I walked into the music store, and there was in small town Olds, and there was a CD there. So that got out because of a larger record label. So people who try to oh, I don't listen to bands unless they're this underground. It's like, okay, well, grab your shovel and keep on digging and see how deep you can get, because we're still going to be up here just having a good time going to shows. That's like that categorization, and when people throw that stuff together, I don't like it. I got on a rant there. I'm sorry, guys. Mike.
No, it's okay. I feel you. I don't know. I mean, to me, punk rock, punk rock's for anyone that wants to be a part of it. It's not just for these elitist assholes, just like show their punk credibility by like showing how punk they are, you know.
I don't go
It's
to
like
these shows.
Spiked my mohawk with egg whites and
Yeah.
knocked gelatin. It's like, man, come on, I don't have time for that. Like, I'm an adult. Like, I've got a life to look after. Like I don't care about your credibility.
Yeah, like, sure, your costume, it takes a lot of work to get that costume on every day to go out, but hey, that's not for me, man. And if that's for you, then go for it. Like, I had a buddy spend hours every day putting up his big long mohawk, and it was like, I just don't have time for that, man. And then he had to like crane his neck sideways when he gets into cars and stuff, and he's already a short guy.
It's so inconvenient.
Yeah. I got my camera guy for Trash on the Streets. He has a mohawk too, and he spikes it up, and it's like, Ryan, I love you, buddy, but he's like, yeah, I know it's inconvenient, but I still like it. Self-awareness is key, right?
Yeah. Really, whatever hums you, bum.
Ah, nice. Bum hums are good, bro. Bum hums are good. What about bands, Mike? I see you're wearing a Chain Whip shirt. They just came through.
Yeah, I saw them on their last tour through here. They were awesome. They were really intense.
Yeah, I saw some video when they were here at the PAL. Wicked good stuff. Like, tearing it up. I had to check them out on the old Spotify and check out their radio to see what other bands come up. And hell yeah, there's still some good new, there's still some new solid hardcore coming out, and it gets me pumped because a lot of the hardcore that I was listening to, like the really, really fast stuff, came from England, like Gallows and stuff.
Okay.
A lot of the Gallows spin-off bands too. I can't think. There's one that's in my head right now. I can see the cover of the album, but I can't remember the name. But they're so fast and so tight. And I'm really glad that there's bands. Internal Affairs was the name of one of them, but I don't think they're from England. They might be. But deadly good stuff. Deadly good stuff. What's another band that you're listening to right now, Mike?
I started listening to this weird kind of like power pop punk band called The Giant Dog.
Sweet.
From Austin. They're awesome. Their albums are kind of they're a little bit underproduced in like this cool like raw trashy way.
I like trash.
And raw and trashy, but they're still like super hooky and like got like just the right amount of pop elements to keep it driving and like fun and catchy. But it's, I don't know, like pretty like serious lyrics. Like it's this weird contradiction where the songs are really fun and like kind of happy sounding, but you listen to the lyrics and they're kind of sad. They have this one song called Sex and Drugs, and it's all about how the singer doesn't remember her youth because she was so fucked up all the time.
Ooh.
That's kind of a sad song for sure. It's super relatable too.
It hits.
I partied like a madman when I was in my 20s and early 30s.
It hits. There's another band that's kind of like that. Sorry, Sweetheart. They're like ska-core from Colorado, I think. They are super good. And the songs are about Buddy's rampant alcoholism and how like he used to run red lights on the way home from a party and one of the lyrics are running through red lights, forgetting that I can die. And like how he would, how he go out on a date and then he'd wake up in the morning with blood all over his pants, couldn't remember what happened, and really relatable stuff, but super catchy, like really major chords, you know, like gets me stoked for some days. And it's like, this song is about this guy like being super, super depressed and trying to cover it all up with substance abuse, but it, that horn section bops.
When the song hits, the song hits.
It really does. It really does. And I guess they're working on new music too. Like, I'm a ska guy. I love ska. And there's some pretty dark subject matter in a lot of ska music. And you don't hear, if you can point me at some depressing ska music, let me know. Because I might do like a whole episode to kind of dissect depressing ska music. Because like another song that comes up is Mr. Smiley by Mustard Plug, which is which is about a murderer killing his family, and it's like that horn section just bops.
Yeah.
You know, and that Sorry Sweetheart. We got comments. I wasn't even checking these comments out. We got Audiologist from Edmonton. He was up in Edmonton there filming a music video this weekend with some wrestlers. It was pretty cool. I saw him kicking around in the ring with his fringed shirt on. I was like, oh man, you never told me you were getting a fringed shirt, dude. I need some fringed shirts like bad. You know, I can't rain all the time, right? But my friend Felicity is a fan of Owls and Eagles as well. Felicity, she is a very important member of the Calgary scene. She's actually one of the big reasons we got onto the big show that we played in May. So shout out to Felicity. She is always supporting the scene, and she's always supporting Trash Talk as well. So we've reached the part of the show where you get to drop some shout outs. And if you feel that we missed anything in the conversation, bring it up and let's chop it up.
Anything?
Not too much. Yeah, we've got those shows coming up in July. Those are going to be big. We're really excited. We have a couple of things coming up later on. We haven't really announced yet, but if you follow us on Instagram, social media, that sort of thing, you'll see it as soon as it drops.
Yeah, that we're playing a festival that we can't divulge the details yet because the full lineup hasn't been announced, but it's coming up.
I think I know which festival
drop
it is.
details pretty soon.
I think I know which festival it is.
Are the REPs on Bandcamp if you want to buy it, if you want to just listen to it. I don't really care. Check it out. It's going to be good.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I wanted to give a shout out to Street Cats YYC.
Yeah.
I was just playing a show in Calgary at Dickens the other night, and they were set up there selling merch, doing the awesome work that they do to keep people informed and keep the streets safer.
Outreach is really important, and I actually think the next Rockin' for Dollars at Broken City is going to be a fundraiser for them.
Yeah.
So if you're in Calgary, make sure you check that out.
Yes, that is on Wednesday. I was actually hoping to get out to go and see that, but my plans have changed. I actually have an interview on Wednesday instead of Thursday because that was when I was able to get my guest. But I'm going to be talking to the Street Cats about putting them on the show as a sponsor and bringing some more attention to what they do, because I also think that they're very valuable. Harm reduction was a big part of what got me through my recovery, and what turned me from active to inactive was being able to transition downward through a harm reduction process and not have to, because I wasn't able to cut it off and just go to a facility. So I had to figure it out on my own. And, I was really lucky to have certain resources to get through that kind of stuff. And Street Cats is a very, very valuable resource in this city.
Yeah, it saves lives. And if you're not trying to save the lives of living, breathing human beings, I'm why are you in the punk box?
Exactly. That's exactly the way I feel about it. The way I see it is, in my case at least, I'm only as valuable as the relationships that I can cultivate with people that I come into contact with. And those relationships have to be enriching. with positivity and with good, like, hey, I got your back, let me know if you have a problem, not just like cheap, facetious, like, yeah, send me a message if you got any issues, like, oh, how was your weekend, stuff like that, like real deal good stuff. That's important. That's really important. Hell yeah.
Agreed.
Well said.
Hell yeah. You two have been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Mike, thank you for badgering me. I don't want to say badgering, that's a joke. Thank you. Thank you for messaging me and reminding me, because I do have a lot going on this last couple of days. I've really been pondering ways how I can slow things down a little bit, because I have some family stuff coming up that I have to deal with. So thank you for messaging me, because I did really, really want to do this, and I'm really glad that we could do this. We do have a history together, buddy, and I'm really stoked that you're in this band, and this band kicks so much ass, because even if it didn't kick ass, I'd still bring you on the show, and we try to get people into it. We'd still be doing this, buddy, because that's what it's all about. And maybe we'll see about getting the Rookers on here. See if Rod can figure out how to get Twitch on his flip phone.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we were thrilled to be on the show. This was
Yeah,
was
thanks
fun.
for having us, Nate. We
It's
appreciate it.
you're a great host. You're very accommodating and like super chill, and yeah, made it fun and easy for us.
Hell yeah. When you guys are done recording the next batch of music and you're ready to release some stuff, let me know, and we can like do a little listening party on the show if you want. That's something
Yeah,
that
that'd be great.
Sure.
yeah, it's something I'm going to be trying to do now, because I got some gear to do that. So I'm going to be trying to kick that up. My buddy Audie in here, he's got some stuff coming out. He's got a music video that he was shooting. Like I said, he was shooting this weekend. We're going to be doing a watch party for that. We're going to be making fun of him, because he's just beautiful, and he's a great guy to make fun of. Thank you.
Right?
Exactly, right? Hell yeah. Thank you, Hillary, and thank you, Mike, for coming on the show. This has been fantastic. I cannot wait to hear the new tunes when you guys get them down, and hopefully I can make it out to a show very soon, or get you down here to play a trash talk show, because that would just be beautiful.
Totally. Into it.
Yeah, let us know.
Killer. All right, everybody. So, from Nate Trash, from Hillary and Mike, and Half Dead, go check out Half Dead. They're killer. Their EP Binge is like the greatest title. It's a sick EP. It's got some really, really good hooks on it. It's deadly. You won't be disappointed. So, from Trash Talk, from Mike and Hillary at Half Dead in Edmonton, this has been another episode. Join me on Wednesday. I'm going to have Brett Mellinson from Armstrong Metal Fest. He's going to come on. We're going to run through a couple of the Armstrong Metal Fest bands, because that is happening in 2 weeks. It is happening it's happening in less than 2 weeks in Armstrong, BC. Festivals are back, baby, and it's going to be a good one. So, cheers, everybody. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Go watch a movie or something. I don't know. Go eat a chocolate bar. Cheers, you guys. Have a good one.